Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Onyx Tavern. This is your host, the Barkeep, bringing you podcast 27 here at the Tavern, presented by HeroTaku.com. Well, everybody, tonight I'm going to go ahead and do this show by myself. Unfortunately, Raptor's not here with me, and it's going to be a relatively short show than what I have been doing. And that's simply because I will be heading off to North Dakota for the weekend for a football game, and I will be back on Sunday. But before I go, I just want to give you guys kind of a brief overview on some Sentai news today. That I've learned, and unfortunately I can't do this with Raptor right now, but I just want to give you guys my straight-up thoughts. And once we get more information down the line, then Raptor and I promise you will be doing more kind of updates on what this new Sentai is going to go ahead and be. However, the news that dropped today was that, according to a copyright website, we now have the official name that's been copyrighted for the 38th Sentai for next year. And that name is, and forgive me for mispronouncing this, I will inevitably do that. Can't talk tonight. Ressha Sentai Tokkyuger. Now, I'm no expert in Japanese translations, but according to Raptor and according to what I've been reading on the internet, basically this translation comes out to something akin to Task Force Train Ranger. And that's a very simplistic way of saying it. I'm sure you can find better translations other places, but that's what I'm going to go ahead and call it. So the Tokkyuger, or Train Ranger, is what I'm going to go ahead and refer to him for the rest of this podcast. So it's not big news, to be honest, in the sense that we didn't really learn too much more, other than trains are going to play a big part of this season. And I love this idea for many, many reasons. The first being that I love trains. I mean, I've never been on a train that much, and if I have been, it's been like the L train in Chicago, or the subway system in Seattle, and things like that. So I haven't ridden a lot of trains, but for some reason, the concept of a train is just awesome. And I wish we would build that super train rail system here in the United States. I mean, you can get on bullet trains anywhere in Japan. I'd love to get on a bullet train from, like LA to New York and something, get there in like 12 hours. I don't know, something like that would just be awesome for here in this country. But let's talk about the country it is coming from, Japan. This is why I love the train idea for Sentai so much, and I don't know why this was not utilized before. Now, before I say anything, yes, I know Go-Go 5 had trains, and yes, I know Magi Ranger had trains. But it wasn't the central theme. And I like the idea that this is potentially the central theme for this Sentai, because the train is the representation of Japan's Industrial Revolution in the 19th century. The Meiji Revolution was the iconic image of the Meiji Revolution in Japan was the train. When the train was brought over, they reverse engineered, they started from scratch. That's what helped build their country. One of the many things, of course, as my professor will probably get on me if I say only the train. But it's become such an important part of Japanese history that, they are leading the world in bullet trains, in rail systems, in getting from Osaka to Nagasaki in like an hour or something. Those trains go like 500 miles an hour or something like that, just some insane number. It's the idea that they are making a Sentai now that ties into the history of Japan. Now, they've done that with Shinkanger, Hurricaneger, Kaku Ranger, other ninja samurai-based things, but think for a second here. That is old Japan. It was around the time of the Meiji Revolution, that the samurai and the ninja started to fade out. Tom Cruise was not the last samurai. Let me first point that out. When the Industrial Revolution took over and they started using guns and all that the samurai started to die out. That feudal system started to die out. That everything became by the gun instead of the sword, and by the rail instead of the horse. That old way had died out. And what Shinkanger and all those other shows were doing was showing that is the old historical tradition of Japan being used in modern day. And even if you look at shows like Geiki Ranger and Go Ranger, they always went back to the Edo period, which at the time with the samurai and all that was a big period within Japanese history. But in the modern Sentai, and again, I've only seen Geiki Ranger on up, they've never really mentioned the Meiji Revolution. They've never talked about Japan's industrialization, with the exception of Go Ranger, which is basically Captain Planet for them, talking about how industrialization causes pollution and then things like that. But the Meiji Revolution is like such a very important part of Japanese history. And again, its iconic symbol is the train. And I love that the train will basically be the symbol of this new series, which, again, if you know your Japanese history, is going to harken back to that era in the late 19th century. It was the train, it was all this that brought Japan, to the front as a world power leading up to the Second World War, until they lost and the atomic bomb and all that other stuff that happened. But basically, between the Meiji Revolution and basically their involvement in the Second World War, I mean, Japan was just booming, rapid industrialization. And it goes back to the whole concept of the train, shortening those distances, bringing in the materials and the goods and all that. And the fact that it's tying, this Sentai will be, I mean, they're not going to talk about history. Let me make that clear. They're going to be fighting monsters in suits and traveling in space and all that good stuff. But again, just the symbolism of the train and what it means to Japan. It's kind of like Captain America. Captain America doesn't talk about history, doesn't really talk about World War II in the context of the character himself. But he is such a symbol for what America was at that time in history within the World War II period. Just like I think the train is a symbol of what Japan was in the late 19th century and how it went from the sword and the samurai to this industrial monster in the early 20th century and into today, basically. Because let's be honest, if it wasn't for basically the United States forcing relations, if it wasn't for them bringing the train over to Japan, then Japan would not be where it is today. That's plain and simple, to be quite honest with you guys. That being said, again, great idea. I think it's awesome. I can't wait to see what they're going to go ahead and do with this. And just for my part, on pure speculation, if we take a look at the four major things that have come out, rumors and otherwise, what we've heard is animal machine-based mecha, something tied in with a battleship. What was the other one I'm thinking of? Oh, the rescue police squadron, and then today the train thing. I can definitely see all four of those being incorporated somehow. Because if it's the police thing, we know at Go-Go 5, they use the train to have the rescue vehicles in them. So, there's that connection. Because I can see what they're doing is like Go-Go 5, that what if their base was the train and each car was a new Zord and it housed a rescue vehicle much like the Grand Liner. Not that they should go that route, but again, just off the top of my head, that's what I see to be happening. That's what I see that could be the potential right there. Frankly, I would just like to see the trains themselves turn to individual robots. That would be awesome. But there's a lot of potential you can have. I could just see now like a rail yard being their headquarters and all that, which would be so cool. The potential for if it's a rescue based team, which it definitely could be. They deploy the cars. They deploy each one depending on what the need is. And like what Raptor and I talked about, you have the ambulance squad, the fire squad, the whatever different kinds, and different cars could be attached for whatever it is they want to go ahead and do with it. So I think these are all going to tie in somehow. Maybe one of them will be false. I know for a fact we're going to get a Yellow Ranger. It just seems to me that Yellow Ranger is going to have to be part of this given what's happened to Kyuryuger. But I'm really excited just from what could be the aesthetics of it, of what kind of designs they can come up with, what they can do with the trains, how many Zords are there going to be. I hope there isn't going to be one of those collectible figures like the Engine Soul, the Beast Battery, or anything. I'm really kind of tired of that right now. I just want to see straight up Zords like in Go Buster and all that. But if you want to do them, collect them all, just say collect all 20 train cars and make the monster train. That's the only thing I can think of at the moment that would be interesting to go ahead and collect. But of course, above all else, I want a good story. And again, I hope they have something good. I hope it's something a little bit darker than what Kyuryuger has had. Maybe not as dark as Go Buster, but something within that range. You can find a healthy medium in there. Maybe something akin to Shinkanger. But yeah, that's really the only news that's kind of come out. Again, we can't draw too much conclusions out of it, other than, again, trains are going to be in it. I think that's awesome. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Just speculating from this point out, this is always the best part of the year, I think, when it comes to Sentai, because we get the rumors piece by piece. We start putting things together. We'll get an image maybe in the next couple of months of what they would look like, find out the core team. And whatnot, and of course, Kyuryuger, they're getting into almost, they're in their second half of their run at the moment. Things are getting good over there. And of course, I will say, the other news we did find out today is we got some images of Brigigus and Kyu Silver. Not that we didn't know they were coming anyway, just that they look like bare images. Found things with beast batteries and things like that. Nothing plot-wise to really get excited about, which is why I really didn't talk about it. But again, the new series, that's what everybody's going to be focusing on. That's what everybody's been talking about for the last day, or all of today. And I'm sure people will be talking into it into next week, and we'll be just speculating like crazy. And that's what I want to go ahead and see. So again, that's all I have for you guys tonight. I apologize for it being so short, but I got a plane to catch tomorrow, and I just want to give you guys something before I go. So again, sorry for being short, but here you are. It's at least listening to me talk about Japanese history and trains. So yeah, I want to thank you guys for listening. Have a good evening, and the tavern is now closed.